President Trump arrived in China after delivering a stern message on North Korea. That country's regime will be at the top of the president's agenda with Chinese President Xi Jinping. She escorted Mr. Trump and the First Lady this morning through the Forbidden City in Beijing.
Before leaving for China, President Trump addressed South Korea's National Assembly, and he warned North Korea not to underestimate the U.S. In a comment apparently directed at China, Mr. Trump said nations that choose to ignore North Korea's threat will have the crisis on their conscience.
Now, earlier, the president tried to make a surprise trip to the demilitarized zone in North Korea's doorstep, but that trip was canceled because of bad weather. Major Garrett is traveling with the president. He's with us now from Beijing. Major, good morning.
Good morning. Last week, the White House said President Trump would not visit the demilitarized zone, as 5 of the 6 previous American presidents had, because such trips had become a cliche. That was a head fake. In fact, the president had been planning a secret helicopter journey to the fortified border between North and South for weeks. South Korean President Moon Jae-in was awaiting the American president's arrival for what would have surely been a historic photo opportunity. But in the end, fog conspired to thwart the mission. A blanket of morning fog meant helicopters flying President Trump to the demilitarized zone, forcing the commander-in-chief to divert less than 5 minutes from the doorstep of North Korea. The White House kept the maneuver under wraps, demanding total secrecy from reporters. On October 25th on the South Lawn, we asked the president if he would fly to the DMZ.
Well, I'd rather not say, but you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised.
Vice President Pence came to the DMZ in April. Presidents Obama, George W. Bush, Clinton, Reagan, and Carter have all made the pilgrimage to the military border that for 64 years has maintained the tensed armistice between North and South. Shortly after the aborted DMZ flight, President Trump addressed the National Assembly and spoke directly to North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un.
The regime has interpreted America's past restraint as weakness. This would be a fatal miscalculation.
The president said North Korea's nuclear weapons and pursuit of intercontinental ballistic missiles will not chase America from the peninsula.
We will not be intimidated, and we will not let the worst atrocities in history be repeated here on this ground we fought and died so hard to secure.
The president also demanded Russia and China fully enforce new economic sanctions against North Korea recently passed by the United Nations. And on the Air Force One flight here to Beijing, a senior official said direct talks with the North could begin if the North takes sincere steps, that's a quote, toward denuclearization. Asked to describe what those sincere steps would look like, Charlie, the official said, we'll know them when we see them.
Major Garrett in Beijing. Thanks, Major.